Well, it seems to be the appointed hour and the lights come on. That's always a good sign. So I will call to order the December 21 meeting of the Oklahoma City Riverfront Redevelopment Authority. First item is from the chairman, and I don't have anything today. Item 3 is the minutes. Do we have any additions or corrections? We have a motion and a second. Cast your vote. And that passes. Item 4 is the consent docket. We have an oil and gas revenue report and the Oklahoma River corridor events update. Any questions on either one of those? We have a motion and a second. Cast your vote. And that item passes. Item 5 is the primary items. Item A is the river maintenance project update. Afternoon.
Afternoon. Joe Shumway, Oklahoma City Public Works. We currently have a previous sediment dredging contract that was in place where we have substantial spoil piles, and our contractors still removing from that contract. We currently have a on-call as needed sedimentation contract where we have not written any work orders at this time. Contracts have been received and approved for the purchase of a dredge, and we will begin those activities in-house. We began to staff already for that activity.
So you'll use your new dredge instead of the contract here. This is just an emergency in case you need it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Our SCADA system, we've been replacing, old technologies, bad sensors, things like that. That's kind of an ongoing project. Our hydraulic repairs, we have now replaced 4 of the 6 cylinders at the Eastern Dam, and we anticipate the last of the replacements to be done early January. We've released a few work orders. One for the structural investigation of all 3 dams. That's something we do every 5 years or so, and repair any deficiencies those reports provide. We released a work order for the design of 2 additional offices and a conference room at our river maintenance facility as that section's starting to grow. We've also, in one of the slides coming up, you'll see we released a work order for the reestablishment of the riprap at the Eastern Spillway. And our crews, river maintenance crews, have removed 25 tons and 9 tons as opposed to our last meeting. Any questions?
Any questions? Motion to receive?
Thank you.
Thank you. And that passes. Item B is a maps projects update.
David Todd couldn't be here this afternoon, so asked me to fill in for him. Got an update on 3 different projects. I think it's been a couple months since we updated you guys. First one's up the West River Trail. If you remember, it's out there it's on the southeast corner of I-40 and Council Road. Part of the trail had washed out. A lot of the river back behind Rush Trucking had washed up on the shore and was washing the trail out. So we put in place a new project. We abandoned the old project, and we just recently completed the installation of the new project around the east side of Rush Trucking. Final acceptance went to council this morning, so that project is complete and the maintenance bond has been put into effect. The other couple projects are out at the Boathouse District. First project was the second floor renovation of the Whitewater facility. They had the grand opening back on May 27th of this year. We had a few other items to wrap up before the fire marshal would grant us the official occupancy up on the second floor. We got those items completed, and that went for final acceptance before the council on September 28th of this year. The second project that's going on out there right now is our goal is to improve the water filtration system out there. The goal is to make the water in the canals look a little bit more clear, a little bit more greenish, bluish. There's kind of two phases to this project. We've got one phase where we've already issued a price and got a price to procure the actual equipment that will be installed. Phase two of that, which we are doing right now, is currently preparing the bid package to issue to the general contractor, put out to bid to a general contractor for the installation of the equipment. So we're working on that right now. We expect to have that out to bid by March 2nd of 2022 with an anticipated completion date by the end of the year, December 31st, 2022.
Okay. Any questions?
Any questions? Good.
Motion to accept that? Thank you. That item passes. Item C is the Riverfront Redevelopment Authority schedule of cash receipts, disbursements, period ending September 30. Have any questions on that? Motion to accept. And that item passes. Item D is the Oklahoma City Riverfront Redevelopment Authority Annual Financial Report for the fiscal year that ended June 30.
Thank you, Chairman. I am Jake Siebenoller. I'm from the Accounting Services Division of the city's Finance Department. So I just wanted to run through a couple items for you real quick related to your FY21 fiscal year audit. So to start off, the audit this year was completed by AGH. They're out of Wichita. They went through and gave us a clean, unmodified opinion. So that means they had no findings and there were no issues with internal control. So it's a good sign from our part. The other couple items we want to look at. So your ending net position decreased slightly at $3,000 during 2021. Total assets decreased $150,000. This is on a breakdown on that. Just looking at cash and investments decreased $95,000. Receivables increased $6,000 primarily due to increases in the oil and gas receivables, and then capital assets decreased $59,000 due to just normal depreciation. And then current liabilities decreased $148,000 at the end of FY21. This is due to timing of payables due back to the city. For final slide and final information here, total revenues increased $44,000 from 2020, and this is primarily due to payments from the city to fund pump repairs and just general expenses. And then your program expenses across the board decreased $13,000 from the prior fiscal year. Are there any questions at this time?
Any questions? Motion to receive.
Looks like Prime Gov is stuck. If we want to just do verbal motion, we can.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay.
Thank you. It passes. Item 6 is the claims docket. Any questions on it? Motion to accept.
Let's do the same thing again.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Item 7 is the comments by staff. We have the director's report. Hi, Melissa.
Hello.
Anything
Good
other
afternoon.
than what's written in here, or you want to talk about it?
Specifically, good afternoon. Glad to see all of you again. Thank you for your time today. I wanted to point out a couple things. One, in the report about the e-bike ordinance that was passed back in August. So you'll see this impact a lot on the river trails. Mostly where this became into effect back in August was being able to delineate the new rules and new laws that were passed by the state that allows e-bikes on trails, state trails and national trails. And then it allows the municipalities to then weigh in on what motorized vehicles are versus an e-bike. So we were able to pull e-bikes out of that. E-bikes are now allowed on our trails, multi-use trails, all class 1, 2s, and 3s. However, only the class 1s are allowed on our natural trails. And that's predominantly at Bluff Creek Park and around Lake Stanley Draper at the mountain bike trails there. So that was a kind of a new thing that was approved back in August. We just want to make sure we brought that to your attention, that you're aware of it, since it had been some time passed from that. Also, a kind of a new thing that council actually approved today was the Parks Department has entered into a contract for a security firm to provide security services along the river parks. And so that will stretch from basically Regatta Park near the Boathouse District to the eastern boundary and all the way to, I guess it's River Park at the western boundary. And so those all the parks in that chain will have 2 patrol people that will be doing both north and south river trail back and forth. They will be able to stop anybody who's doing naughty behavior or causing, hopefully, being able to reduce the amount of vandalism that has been happening in those parks lately. So we're hoping that will help protect the city's assets and investors, taxpayers' assets, to hopefully preserve those parks a bit better in the future, and that way they're safer and cleaner for all of our park patrons when they come visit. So with that, just want to wish all of you happy holidays, and thank you so much for your service this year, and I look forward to working with you again next year. Thank you.
Any questions? Motion to receive?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Very good. Any comments by trustees? I will say that the Holiday River Parade was a huge success, I thought, down in the Boathouse District. If you recall, we didn't do one last year because of COVID, and also during that time, Mr. McAuliffe passed away, the founder of that river parade and longtime supporter of it. And this year's parade was in honor of Mike, and it really went off well. The crowds were big, everybody had a good time, weather held out for us, and it was very nice. It's my understanding the Riversport Foundation plans on doing that yearly. And they did this one in honor of Mike. He was the honorary Grand Marshal, but they'll keep doing that, and I hope they do. It's a huge free event for the kids, and it was a good time by all. So, and I too will echo Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy safe holiday to everybody, and we'll see you next year. Any comments by citizens? We are adjourned.